Okay, with the Sisters of Battle, Order of the Blessed Flame finished now for the moment, or at least the current stage of it. Switching gears a bit, going to do another prop build. This one, rather than being Sith-based, will be Mandalorian / Bounty Hunter based. Cosplay idea I've got set up that I want to try to get ready for Star Wars Celebration at the end of August. So, to start with, we're going to build a pair of blasters from Star Wars The Old Republic. These in-game are referred to as the Interstellar Regulator Besh. They are heavy blaster pistols. That is a screen cap from the game, as well as an icon pick from the game here. Now, it's very similar to a Nerf blaster, but I decided rather than modify the Nerf gun, I would go in and draw up, using that as a template underneath it, a template for the blaster. Now, template was printed out, 2 copies, on standard printer paper. This one, as you can see, has already been cut out to be cut from EVA foam. I have 2 pieces here of the floor mat foam, which will work as the core for the guns. Then I have some new 10mm HD EVA foam that I'll use as the outside pieces. This version of the template, I'm not going to cut up. I'm not going to do anything with, except use as a reference, full-sized, for when I'm laying out lines after cutting this one, well, to shreds, because that's what's almost guaranteed to happen to it. I will be doing the barrels in PVC pipe, and the plan currently with these core layers is to run the barrels into about here, at least the main barrel, into about here to give the gun some stability. I have noted that I will have to enlarge the trigger guard, because while the handle works really well on my grip, my finger will not fit in that trigger guard. So we'll enlarge that, and it'll only be on the core layer, so it's about time to get started cutting. Okay, at this point, I have the yellow middle section cut out. I've lined where the barrels are going to go, and that's about the depth I'm looking at to put at least the top barrel. Like I said, I want to go deep on the barrels just to give some more stability. I've started work on cutting out the second middle piece. And underneath the glass here, you can see I have drawn out the pattern for the other 4 pieces, but I have them sitting underneath some heavy glass to flatten them out, because the HD foam was rolled, and, well, you know, flat works better for this. Okay, as you can see, I've got the lengths of pipe cut to become my barrels. They're at about 9 inches. Ideally, I'm figuring I want about a 1/4 inch hanging out. We'll see how it goes and continue on with the work. Okay, as you can see, Underneath the glass and on top of the glass, I have all 4 exterior HD foam pieces cut. The way this is going to work is you'll sandwich the layers. Of course, the barrels will be inside. We have done this. The sight from the core piece wind up being centered, as well as that little tail piece. But next up will be modifications to put the barrels in the centerpieces. It's going to be a next step should be an interesting one. Okay. Next step up here, as we prepare for barrel insertion, and at least preliminary assembly, I have cut the channels out of the 2 centerpieces to accommodate my PVC pipe barrels. I've also gone in and lined the exterior pieces so I can take a sanding bit in my Dremel and at least round out a bit of the channel to help deal with the fact that that's actually bigger around than that is thick. You see I've marked them with Y's and R's so I know which ones are yellow and which ones go with the red, because there are some differences in the way they're laid out. But while it may not look like much, we're ready for the next very major step here. All right, using a combination of a sanding drum in my Dremel and wrapping one of my barrels in some drywall sanding screen, I've cut the channels in one side of the, for lack of a better term, yellow gun. Last night, I did the same thing with the red core gun. Carved the channels on both sides, and then got this one glued up using some Gorilla Construction adhesive. As you can see, we had some leakage, and there are some seams that are going to need filling. I'll worry about filling the seams after I get further into detailing these guns. But, you know, mission accomplished thus far. It's got a pretty good heft, grips the right size, thickness looks about right. Now I just need to cut the channels in this side and then glue this one all up, and then we'll go back to the templates and start detailing some more. Okay, as you can see, I've started laying out some of the detail on the guns now that I've got them glued up. Now the red lines here, I'm not going to carve in until after I get this area shaped. But I've been using the tip of my soldering iron as a wood burning tool, and we've got at least some detail beginning to carve in here. I've also done it on the other side. Progress is being made. All right, as you can see, I've begun some shaping work. Get the area around the barrels and the grips on both guns going. Also shape the area under here. And now it's time to do some more line work. They're coming together. Okay, as you can see, I've got the line work engraved. on both sides of both guns. Oop, forgot an area. I have to fix that because I haven't engraved that one yet. But the rest of it is done. Got the majority of the rough shaping done. At this point, biggest thing I need to do is go in with some flexible spackle and do some serious seam filling work. But the tandem blasters are getting closer and closer to being done. Okay, after doing some seam filling, admittedly it didn't look like the seam filling may have done a lot of good, but at least some of the huge gaps that were showing are gone. I have gone in and given both guns a coat of black Plastidip. This one's relatively shinier because, gee, I just finished its coat. Looks like I need to touch that up. But next step from here will be black primer and gunmetal. Or I may just go straight to the gunmetal. We'll see. Alright, and now we have our coat of, in this case, Krylon metallic charcoal. Gunmetal by any other name is still gunmetal on both guns. From here, it'll be detail paint time. Still looks a little rough hewn, but you know what? I think it's got a certain charm to it that way. More to come. All right. At this point, I have gone in and using some white acrylic paint, as well as Mephiston Red from the Games Workshop paint line, followed by a black ink. Gone in and painted, or finished the painting on the two Interstellar Regulator I can't remember the Besh from Knights of the Old Republic for my Mandalorian cosplay. I went in with a black wash on both guns to beat them up. As well as some dry brushing in silver to help bring out some of the detail and continue, well, making these things look like they've been used. After all, they belong to a Mandalorian bounty hunter. Being made of foam, they are still fairly hefty. You know, they do have some weight to them, but not as heavy as they would be otherwise. And of course, the fact that they have no trigger is an immediate lack of worry for getting into cons with them. All in all, I freely admit they are not perfect. But you know what? They also aren't repainted Nerf guns, which I very easily could have done, but didn't want to spend the $40 between the two guns to do. And I can genuinely call these mine. I'll add a couple of stills showing the guns to the end of this, and thank you all for watching.